Hey, welcome to the Love You More show. Let me tell you something. Traditionally, I know you watch this with your children in the room. Well, this conversation, I wouldn't call it rated R, but it's definitely for adults, okay? All right, so we're going to have a good show. Make sure you share this with somebody. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel. It's so important that we have this conversation because ultimately what I'm seeing in relationships is that the loving is going away, especially the intimacy when it comes to sex. So we had to have the conversation. So make sure you tell the children, if you're listening to this audibly, to close their ears or keep them in the room because it's a healthy conversation. Now, it's time for the show. Flat out.
Next on the Love You More show.
I am under the assumption that I am at my best in the daytime.
Why do you say that?
Because I feel like I give all my energy up in the daytime and then expect to give my best performance at night. That's a little tough for me.
We're not prompted to have sex, right? Like when you're a young male at the age of like 16, probably younger than that, you got your uncles and stuff saying, you get some, yeah, I got condoms for you.
Yes,
they're
Lord.
not doing that.
That's right,
Women don't, our mothers aren't doing that. They're not saying like, oh yeah, let me teach you this about sex, or let's watch porn, or I'm gonna get some sex for you. So it's a little bit different. And also you have to remember too, we're used to men initiating. So that's another concern I hear a lot from the males that I counsel is my wife doesn't initiate, my girlfriend don't initiate, she must not even want sex. Women want sex as much as men.
Love you more.
Hey family, it's your nephew, Willie Moore Jr. Welcome to the Love You More podcast. I'm so thankful that you would take the time. Listen, there's so many podcasts out there, and I'm gonna be real honest with you. I thank you for just clicking on. But listen, the one thing that I don't want you to do is be a creep. You say, Willie Moore Jr., what's a creep? A creep is a person that'll watch this entire episode and not subscribe. So listen, press pause real quick, make a subscription, and just subscribe to this channel. And of course, there's so many other opportunities that you will have to connect with us. Today is a very, very special day. Thank you to the thousands of people who watched last week's series of Love You More. So today, we're gonna talk about something that most people, especially who love God, don't never want to talk about. But it's such a problem. I hear this all the time. Most people get a divorce because of finance. I'm like, where the hell that statistic at? Well, who was y'all, like a survey? KD, where the hell they get them statistics from?
Oh, no doubt.
Because if they ain't, because the truth is sometimes for men specifically, okay, if you've been celebrated every day of your life at your job, some of them got their little quote unquote work wife, y'all can say whatever you want. But when you go home, if it ain't no love making, then, it gets a little tough, specifically for men. So today we're going to have an opportunity to talk about sex. I know what I just heard in my Shanana, the old song. Let's talk about, let's talk about you. And if you under the age of 25, you have no idea what I'm talking about tonight, right?
Yes, sir.
You do? Good. But you should never know because you're only 23. Anyway, and boys should never take their shoes off at your house. Praise be to God. So, family, listen, today we're going to talk about sex. Today, I have can I call you a sexologist?
Sex therapist.
Sex therapist. Yeah, she goes by the name of Dr. Canary. I would tell you her first name, but I'll let her do it because she did it so much more, so better than me. But Dr. Canary, tell him your first name and do it the way you told me off camera.
Now I can because you didn't put me on the spot.
Go ahead, I'm waiting.
So my first name is Natalia.
Natalia.
Okay,
I love it. Okay, good. So today we're just gonna have a really great conversation. Here's the thing. Last part of our series, so the series is loosely based upon my life, but it has a lot of different characters that came from different relationships that I have heard about, helped people through. The one thing about, ministering to people, coaching people, if you would, you hear a lot. Yes. And I ain't necessarily the dude who trying to be in nobody's bedroom, but sometimes, when it comes to fellas, when they feel comfortable enough to talk to me, hell, they coming on with it. They just like, bro, you don't even know. I ain't had sex in 8 months. I was just like, well, what you been doing? No, I don't want to know what you've been doing. Like, I don't want to know. But like sex is such a part of our reality.
Right.
And of course, because I am a Christian, I will attempt to make it as much about the marital bed as possible. That's my attempt. But seeing that I'm on the other side of the fence of marriage, we're going to pray about it. Okay. And we're going to talk about it. But I want to have a candid conversation, but I cannot have that conversation without you getting an opportunity to check out last week's episode to get you abreast of what the rest of the world's saying. Is that all right?
That's cool. Let's
Thank
do
you,
it.
Natalia. Let's go.
Why are we waiting for the sun to go down? We both want it, so let's get it started right now. Time's of the essence, and I don't wanna waste mine. We should get together and make love in the daytime. I know you get tired of the same old same. Wait until the night come to do your thing. I've got a proposition for you ladies today. I wanna make love in the middle of the day. Say, wanna cry. You used to knocking boots, how about I knock you out your socks? Make you feel like a queen when we in between them sheets, and keep you energized like some Xantrax 3, baby. Why are we waiting for the sun to go down? We both want it, so let's get it started right now. Time's of the essence, and I don't wanna waste mine. We should get together and make love in the daytime. 'Cause in the daytime, the sun shine on the world, and in the daytime, I see just how I want it, girl. Time's of the essence, and I don't wanna waste mine. We should get together and make love in the daytime.
The song is Love in the Daytime. Of course, the scene, if you've seen it, if you ain't seen it, at the end, it's a really big cliffhanger. So I want to challenge y'all to go watch it because I got caught up on something, but you got to watch it to see. But Dr. Canary, I want to talk to you a little bit about the proposition,
Okay.
the love in the daytime. I am under the assumption, so first of all, let me say this. I don't know how comfortable I feel talking about sex to a woman that I ain't never necessarily met like that. So I don't want to be disrespectful to you, to whoever Dr. Canary significant other is. I asked her to be here, and I'm going to ask what I need to ask because I've never been around a sex therapist.
Okay.
I am under the assumption that I am at my best in the daytime.
Why do you say that?
Because I feel like I give all my energy up in the daytime and then expect to give my best performance at night. That's a little tough for me. I would rather give my mate the most of me at my peak time.
Why do you feel like that's your peak time? Do you know when your testosterone is peak?
Baby, I'm at 968 all day. The male doctor told me that I'm 28 in my 40s. Let's get that out the way. So fellas, go check, okay? Go check. But I'm 968 all day. They said if I want to go to 1100, I got to take a shot, but that'll make me 21. And I figured my back wasn't ready for it.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, one thing I always tell couples, and actually 75% of my clients are actually males. So I have a lot of men that come to me, not only for erectile dysfunction, but for things like you're showing in this video. Like they are trying to get their wives, girlfriends, side chicks, whoever on the same page as them when it comes to their sex schedule. And so one thing that I've realized is it's a lack of communication and comprehension.
Okay.
Right. And you got to remember, as women, we have a lot going on with our hormones after we have kids, menopause, premenopause, postmenopause. You know, there's different levels of menopause that women go through in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and things like that. And so if you want to have sex in the daytime, like your song stated, you have to build that foreplay and that intimacy with your woman. That is key.
And then hanging out with Dr. Canary, aka Natalia, right?
Yes.
So here's the thing. I want to really focus on the part that you just talked about. You said you got to kind of work that foreplay all day.
Yes.
So let me just put this out there. I'm pretty good at it. I'm sending videos, text messages, everything. Not like videos of my situation on. Okay. But I'm saying like little videos, just thinking about you. I hear you because for me, I'm so creative. Like I don't necessarily want to get into a long conversation because I'm idea based in radio and television. So if I'm getting an idea, I want to document it in certain seasons. So if I can't really get on the phone, I'm gonna send a video thinking of you, thought of you, da 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 da. But what does that look like for different people as far as men go? Because I'm thinking about men right now because men just like, I got off work. She need to be right there.
That's not how it works, though.
But that's not how it works.
Right,
like, when should we start the foreplay?
So it really depends on the type of woman that you're dating, right? And who you're dating, because every woman is going to be a little bit different. But for the most part, like as women, you have to tap into us. Like you can't just be like, oh babe, I want your spread eagle as soon as I get home. Our juices ain't flowing yet. We ain't got nothing going on. Yeah. So for us, for men, you guys have to remember you're very visual creatures.
Hold on one second, Miss Dr. Natalia. To the people right now, y'all can't see the people over there, but there's a group of them over there making all types of noise and ups. Hey, fellas, listen, 2 seconds. Fellas in the room, I'm coming. Just know this is not gonna be a conversation. If you're watching on here, just know, fellas, it's gonna be something for us too.
Yes.
I'm not the guy who trying to just appease to a woman. I got chest meat. That's already good enough.
And fellas, I want y'all to get laid, so I'm gonna help you guys.
Yes, Lord. That's why I brought her. That's why I brought her. Dr. Toit told me that if I wanted to get laid, get Natalia. Go ahead. Praise be to God.
I'm trying to get everybody laid. Everybody deserves their orgasm. So that's what I'm trying to do. We going there next. Right?
Yes, Lord. Go ahead.
So I feel like for men, you have to realize, for women, yes, we're visual, but we're not as visual as you are. You guys can see a woman and she's voluptuous or has the body type that you like, and you're like turned on. It doesn't work like that. We could see a 6-pack, we could see a big penis, and it's like, okay, that's nice, but it doesn't get our juices flowing. So you have to tap into more so our mental. And that's why I tell people, like, sexual health, mental health, all that is combined when it comes to women and for men as well, right? So for a man, if you are trying to get laid in the middle of the day, like you said, what's the name?
It's love in the daytime.
Love during the daytime. If you're trying to get that love during the daytime,
yes, love.
You have to tap into your woman's mental. And you know your woman. You know what she likes, right? So whether that's flowers, whether that's setting the mood and saying, baby, run us a bubble bath, whether that's gifts, maybe she likes materialistic things. Setting the mood is always going to help you get laid.
Indeed. No, I love it. I want to ask you this just real quick. I've never talked about sex to a woman that I never knew. Let's just get that out the way. So all the ladies was going, that's right. That's right. Mm-hmm. My question to you, just before we get into the deep and heavy stuff, why hasn't this education been given before time? Because if this is something that women really need, most of the time it comes off as a nag or a problem, or they don't get to the point about what they actually need to be intimate with a man. Like, is that kind of embarrassing to you guys? Because it's like you come in and you like, well, you know, you're showing the 6-pack, you're doing all this other stuff, and then it's just like, well, you haven't done da-da-da-da-da-da. Is there something in a woman that could possibly say, hey, this is how I need to be loved? Because I don't often hear that communicated. Do you challenge women to communicate effectively what they actually need?
Absolutely. And I think you have to remember, especially our background, like a lot of women, we are not taught, or we're not really, what's the word I'm looking for? We're not prompted to have sex, right? Like when you're a young male at the age of like 16, probably younger than that, you got your uncles and stuff saying, you get some, I got condoms for you.
Yes,
they're
Lord.
not doing that. That's women don't, our mothers aren't doing that. They're not saying like, oh yeah, let me teach you this about sex, or let's watch porn, or I'm going to get some sex for you. So it's a little bit different. And also you have to remember too, we're used to men initiating. So that's another concern I hear a lot from the males that I counsel is, my wife doesn't initiate, my girlfriend don't initiate, she must not even want sex. Women want sex as much as men. Research shows that, statistics shows that. We love sex. Y'all are just not doing it right.
Hold on,
no. Most respectful way.
No. Listen, here goes the thing. Here goes the thing. Some men aren't doing it right.
Some men.
Like, we can't make a blanket statement of what it is. So here's the thing. If we just want to dive deeper. So for me, I won't even, like most of my guys, you know, before I was married and now, you know, divorced, they used to be like, dang, what's up with her? She fine, or this, that, and other. Like, I know you want something. I'm like, bro, I ain't got to do that. Because that's like, for me, because I was molested as a child, because I've been through so much, I was hypersexual. So it was almost my goal to please a woman.
Right.
So for me, like, I didn't have no borders. Like, I didn't have no borders. So I know how to get up at 8 a.m. and hit you with the good morning. And I'm going to be consistent for 3 to 5 to 6 months. I know how to do all this stuff. Not the best dater in the world, but definitely an attentive guy. And it's actually better than 80% of most dudes out here, because they thinking about materials or what have you. And like, well, I got a car, so she should do it, because there are a lot of shallow women who just want to be with what you. So I understand that. And there are a lot of men out there. My thing is now, when it comes to women, when you do get a real man, and there needs to be adjustments, I feel like some women, not all women, I don't want to make that blanket statement. They don't communicate necessarily what's going on. Like, I'm in my 40s now, so I'm kind of nervous that menopause is coming. And so there's a lot of unspoken issues. They're looking at social media. I think you the finest thing in the world. I don't care about that push, them handlebars for me. You know what I'm saying? But you tripping off of it. Like, do you think it's important for women to kind of communicate that with the man?
Both.
Like,
I'm all about accountability, right? As a psychiatrist, as a sex therapist, I teach both sides about accountability.
Got it.
And so as women, because I have women come to me when I do couples counseling. And so what I typically do in my practice is I'll take the woman first or the man first, whoever wants to come first, and then I'll bring them together, right? Yeah. Because a lot of the times in these relationships, we're seeing issues with communication, but then comprehension. What are you hearing? What are you taking in? And so as women, we too have to learn accountability, because men will say all the time, she doesn't take initiation. Well, ladies, how do you take initiation? Like, what does that look like, right? So from the man's standpoint, he has to understand we're not used to having to take initiation, right? Be initiative, because when it comes to dating, usually the man asks the woman. When it comes to sex, usually you guys will show us that you want sex, not the other way around. And so what happens is we get used to that, and then we expect you guys to do it all the time. But then once you get in a relationship, once you're going through the motions in a relationship, it starts to get repetitive. Yeah. And so you're kind of like, okay, now I want her to take the lead, but then we're not used to taking the lead. So we're shy. We feel maybe just not as confident in the bedroom. So what I tell women is taking initiative can be baby steps, right? Yeah. So maybe the first thing is wearing some lingerie. So if you're walking around the house wearing lingerie or butt naked, your man is visual. He's clearly going to start initiating. But that's kind of like you initiating because you started the process because he's your visual creatures. And so then the next thing would be is saying, okay, you know what? I want to try this in the bedroom. Can we try this? Getting games. One of my favorite things I like to do with couples is where I have them go to the sex store together. And if there's an issue with taking initiative.
Hold on one second. Hey.
Have you done that before?
Yes, Lord.
It's fun. Isn't it fun?
Hey, fellas, let me just tell you something. You might not get off the parking lot.
If you go to Tokyo Valentino, downstairs.
It's somewhere over here. There's some here. Okay, I never knew. Honestly, I never knew it was close. It was out of town for me. To all my saints.
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
All right.
But
how did you know?
My clients.
Your clients. Good job.
Clients.
Okay, good job. Don't worry.
My clients.
So I have to
do my research.
I gotta take a step back though, because I just feel in my heart there's a lot of men that also watch, because the subject that we're touching on this series is just really, really good for men and women.
Right.
You talked about erectile dysfunction.
Yes.
In the beginning of this conversation, I told my true numbers. Come on, 968. I'm out here great.
That's a solid number.
Come on.
That's a solid number. Good for you. Healthy sperm.
So here go the thing. Here's the thing that I have a strong issue with is that men don't necessarily talk about it until somebody talks about it.
No, they don't. Men, especially black males, and I hate to harp on you all, but I do this with my brothers, my cousins. You all are not going to see the doctor as much as women.
You got to see that doctor.
It's June. It's mental health. It's actually June Men's Health Month.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, out of probably 50 clients that I have that are males, maybe 10 of them have went to see their physician.
See, that's why I'm at 968. I go dang near every month.
You need to.
You got to go. And I'm so glad that you brought that up but let me be honest with you. Although I go a lot, and I'm just going to be full transparency, while going through divorce, I was depressed.
Right.
And so wasn't nothing working. So I had to go to the doctor because I was nervous. I was like, Lord have mercy. How am I to go to my next if I'm not blessed? Right. Oh, how am I supposed to go to the next? Come on. How am I supposed to go to the next if I'm not blessed? And I was hearing all this stuff on social media. He was out there doing this, and he probably out there doing that. I wanted to call and be like, it don't work. It don't work. It don't work. It's not working.
But that's what I was talking about. Yeah. How mental health has a lot to do with
But he showed me. That's how I got my number. Yeah. And he said, are you under a lot of stress? And I was like, yeah, probably. And he was like, when I'm looking at the numbers, it's just mental, and he taught me about self-care. Can you kind of go in for my men who still ain't gonna go to the doctor and never tell nobody that they going through it? They done tried Viagra, Cialis, the little fake pills, all that stuff. It's not working.
That's the thing. You probably don't even need it. Like, I have so many clients that come to me, and I prescribe medication. I prescribe Viagra and things like that. And a lot of times what I'll do first is, after the lab work, I'm like, wait, what is your diet looking like? Nutrition is inside out. Nutrition is the number one thing. You have to put down the fried foods. You got to put down the canned foods, anything high in sodium, especially your age, right? Like if you're in your late 30s, early 40s, 50s, exercise has to be the number one. Nutrition has to be the number one thing. Yeah. So after you have that component, then let's look at your mental health. Are you dealing with depression, anxiety? You mentioned past trauma in your childhood. All of that stuff will start to come up when you're depressed. Yeah. And so if you have PTSD, past traumas and different things like that, are you addressing those things? Do you have a mental health counselor? Do you have a psychologist? Are you coming to someone like me, a psychiatrist? You know, what are you doing to work on those things? Because all of that affects your libido, and that's your sex drive.
So the comments are going crazy about this weed comment. She said certain strands make your little vajayjay a little drier than normal. And certain strands kind of mess up our situation too. So what are your thoughts? Leave it in the comments. Share this with somebody. In fact, even while the show is going on, make sure you leave a comment and let me know what you think of that comment. Is the Mary JJ messing up the vajayjay? Let's talk about it. Put it in the comments. Share this with somebody. Subscribe, all right? Flat out. That's what I was going to ask you. And women go through a lot of different things as far as it goes with their libido. What are some of the things that women can help with? Because, of course, we can go to the store and get whatever lubricants that are needed. Right. But what can women do as far as health to make sure that their libido is good?
So for women, it's the same. Exercise and nutrition. There are a couple of drugs that we can prescribe. I don't like to prescribe them only because of vaginal dryness. So then you have another layer, and then you're having to use more lubricant, which there's nothing wrong with using lubricant. I definitely always suggest like a water-based lubricant because it feels more like your natural juices.
I'm sorry. I just ain't never, because I ain't never really talked about sex with somebody I don't even know. I'm just like, oh God, let me keep my mind right. Praise the Lord. And then here's the other thing though. I know all this because I'm like kind of connected to somebody who do all the research. And it's like, it's the best. I'm telling you.
It is. It really, really is. And it's about also what you're eating, what you're putting in your body. And now like research is showing that like a lot of women that smoke marijuana, that's actually contributing to vaginal dryness. That's contributing to low sex drive. So you have to be careful with everything that you're taking in your body.
So the weed is making women dry as a bone.
It's also...
And what they said, ain't that what you said? Hey, Katie, ain't that what she said?
It is linked with vaginal dryness, but also for men too. So men over the age, I think now it's like 20 or 30, you have to be careful because that is also showing signs of making erectile dysfunction.
So the weed is making the penile not work.
And it depends what strand of marijuana you're using too. So you got to be careful.
I don't know the difference between the strands. But they asked me online, is sativa? Which one is off?
I'm not an expert in that area.
You don't know that part?
So I don't know that part. But I can do some research and find out.
Sativa's okay? It's got to be. Okay, listen, I have no idea. I'm sure it's indica because it puts you to sleep and it probably dries you out. Let's get that out the way. Not that I know anything.
But there's so much that's blended into like where you're getting it from. So there's just so many different components. So I tell people just know where your source is coming from because they'll come to me and there's nothing else wrong with them. And I'm like, wait, do you smoke marijuana? And they're like, yeah, every day. And I'm like, that might be it. And as soon as they slow down, they're like, it's working.
Yeah, no, it's good. Like, I appreciate it. I want to ask you this. Like, I really want to get into some real conversation though. Okay. Just kind of switching gears a little bit because you seem fairly young, right?
I'm not that young.
I mean, fairly young. My audience sometimes look, she drinking water now. When I turned that voice into Barry White, she wasn't right. You understand me? But no, I want to ask you this because, a lot of my audience, sometimes they're like 35, 54. And it's like, why do I have to learn from a person who probably hasn't been through everything?
I'm in that age group.
Yeah, so I want to ask you, like, was there something that made you specifically want to go into this field? Because, I mean, everybody ain't calling home. You from DMV, your family came from the Lou and then they went to whatever how that thing went. But it's like, how do you call home and be like, yeah, so, you know, because my mama like to brag.
Oh.
And it's like, hey, you know what baby doing, don't it? He a doctor. And then if I be like, yeah, like, but I'm a doctor of like sex. And it's just like, and mama be like, Lord have mercy. He teaching people how to have sex. That's all she know. Like, so what made you go into this field? Was somebody off? Was you like a sex addict? Like, what happened?
No, actually, I kind of fell into the field. So
you
a
can't
little
just
background.
That's the same thing some of my friends said when they cheated. Like I just fell in it. I just fell in it.
Though.
That's used to be one of our favorite excuses. It just kind of fell out the sky.
I bet it was. I'm sure. No, so I actually was a sex therapist first before I became a doctor. That's what a lot of people don't know. So I'm a medical doctor though. So I think a lot of people think when they think about sex therapy that I talk about sex all day, and I actually really don't.
What you talking about?
That's the fun part. I actually talk a lot about trauma and mental health first, and then we get into the sex. Because if your mental is not right, your sex is going to be whack. Or you're not even going to want to have sex. So a lot of people that are depressed, anxious, PTSD, they don't even want to have sex. People that are sex addicts and want sex all the time, they're operating from a different angle, a different trauma a lot of the times. Mm-hmm. They're operating from power most of the times. Like they want to be powerful in a sense because they didn't have that power usually in a sexual assault situation, typically, people that are sex addicts. So for me, what ended up happening was I was young and younger. Yes.
Got it.
This was like 10 years ago.
Okay.
And I did a presentation on human sexuality. I actually wanted to be a family marriage counselor originally.
Okay, got it.
And then I found out they didn't make that much money. And I was like, ooh, I got to kind of rethink this for my lifestyle.
So they don't make no money with the marriage thing?
Back then, they weren't making a lot of money. It might be a little bit different now because more people are into... But not as much as you making right now. Correct.
Amen. There we go. Let's get that out the way. Yeah.
But
the bag different.
I was really young and in my 20s, early 20s, and I did a presentation on human sexuality for Black women. And my professor at the time, I'll never forget, he was an Asian guy. And he was like, I think you should be a sex therapist. He was like, this is like, it should be your niche. And his sister was a sex therapist in California.
She was Asian too?
She was Asian as well.
Yeah.
And so at the time, I wasn't studying under any Black women that were sex therapists. Yeah. I studied under an Asian woman. I studied under an Indian woman, a Caucasian woman. And I was like, there needs to be Black women in this space because we are also, as you know, from slavery, always considered hypersexual. And so I was like, there needs to be more research on this, our needs, our wants, and what we're experiencing, especially after childbirth.
Yeah.
Because there's almost no research on that. And so I went into the field and then I couldn't find any jobs. And then I started working as a mental health counselor and I worked with a psychiatrist and he was like, you should go to medical school. And I went to medical school, became a doctor. And then once I graduated, I started to combine the two because I realized there was a correlation. And then that's when I started my company, Mind, Body, Sex, because they're all interconnected. And
what your mama said too?
My mom was for it. She was like, you go, girl.
Oh, that's right. You told me your mom was for it. What your daddy say though for the daughter though? I know that daddy was like,
you know
okay.
What? I'm such a daddy's girl. He was happy that I was a physician first. He was like, you a doctor,
and I bet that's what he tell him. I guess that's what he tell him, too.
I think he always leaves out the sex therapist.
Oh, I know he does.
I don't think his friends know that. But he was just like, you know, whatever you do, just be you and be classy. That was all he asked me. He was like, just be classy
he
with
prayed
it.
About
you can
that.
talk about sex and not have to be raunchy with it. Because let's be honest, before most of us pass away, 90% of us are going to have sex. I think it's 98% of people have sex in their lifetime.
Me being a virgin at this big age, I'm celibate now. No, I'm just joking.
I
should be. But no, I want to, good answer. Shout out to your dad.
Shout out to my dad.
We talked about mental health. You know, there's a lot of guys right now who watch us, and I'll be honest with you, they watch us behind the walls because now they have an opportunity with this new program that we have. You know, shout out to my brother Shaquan and the rest of the team to get our podcast in the jails.
Oh, wow.
And so because they get a chance to see us in the jails, I've noticed, you know, I'm from the neighborhood. So a lot of guys, they come out of jail and they strong, want to have sex or what have you. But what the ladies say after a little while, they're no longer able to perform because they've had so much masturbation while they were in jail and mentally they can't get there.
Yeah.
Like, what would you say to a man who has to live in his imagination? like as it pertains to how many times you can really, you know what I mean, like really go and ejaculate. Like, are they missing an opportunity to really have true intimacy with a woman?
That's such, you know, no one has ever asked me that question. That is such a good question. This is the thing. There's pros and cons to anything that you do, right?
Okay.
Like water is good for your body, but if you drink too much water, you can die. And it's the same with masturbation. Not that you're going to die, but you can start to have issues down there.
Got it.
And so what I tell a lot of men that, let's say military guys, because my dad was in the military.
Yeah.
So I have a couple clients that are in the military and they have to be out to sea for 6 months. And they're like, I'm worried that I'm going to have this problem. And when I get back, I'm not going to be able to perform the way my wife or girlfriend needs to. So it's the same. The men that are in jail, everything is in moderation. So if you know that you're getting out within a certain amount of time, I like to tell my clients, practice semen retention. Have you heard that word before?
Whole time.
Not only is semen
I practiced
retention
it for a while.
good for how long? 2 weeks don't count.
I literally learned how to feel the same feeling and make it go up instead of out.
Yes.
So it goes up my back versus like out. And I know for some of y'all, it's like, that's weird as hell.
No, it's true.
But
though.
I told y'all, like, I really, really studied and wanted to be good at this for some strange reason.
Were you more mentally clear when you practice it? Were you getting more things done?
I will say that. Yes.
Yes. And that's why.
But I wasn't as relaxed. But when I got up, I was.
Did you exercise at the same time though that you were doing it?
Yes, I did.
Good.
You know, I would have to go there before I could be mentally clear. Like, I'm on exercise. It's like a part of my regimen at this point. But I'm telling guys, like, bruh, semen retention is literally the way. Like,
and the thing is, if you know you're going to get out, let's say 6 months to a year, because men that are in there for 10 years, that's kind of hard to tell them not to do that. But if you know you're getting out 6 months to a year and you want to be able to perform your best, I tell them to practice that. While you can still masturbate, but in moderation. It's not an everyday thing. So what you want to do is maybe wait 3 to 6 days and then masturbate. And you should be masturbating 3 times in a day.
Yeah, that's
because then it's going to be, But masturbation is great for those men that have ejaculation issues, that ejaculate really quickly. So it's an exercise I give men, because I have men that come to me and they're like, I don't last more than 2 minutes. And I have them time it so that way they know. And so
Lord,
with them,
brother sitting there with a clock on the side. I ain't never had a clock on the side. I go by the songs. So
there you go. Or
so
you
if I can get through 5 songs at 5 minutes apiece, what I got?
Then you know.
Come on, somebody. Come on, count it with 5, 10, 15, 20,
the art
25.
of making love to music, a lot of people don't do that anymore.
Really?
Yes. That's another exercise that I give, because I'll ask couples, especially I feel like between the age of 25 and maybe 30, or even 35, people around my age, they're not doing it. If you ask them, like, what's the last song you made love to? They'll be like, we haven't.
Well, this is a great pause and a good segue. We got a new album that's out right now. New song is called Love in the Daytime. And I'm not saying that it's the song that's going to take you to where you need to be. But if you're in the daytime, make sure you download it wherever music is streaming. Okay? Now back to this message. So music is good and we making it. Praise be to God.
Yes, you are.
And so that's good. What other tools do you give to couples as it pertains to kind of like sexual therapy? Do you ever prescribe medicine at all?
I do. But
for women? Because I know you got Viagra for
men and women. And like I was saying earlier, with women, though, it gets a bit tricky depending on their age, if they've already had children, just because a lot of the medications that we have on the market right now that are FDA approved, they cause vaginal dryness. And then some of them cause depression. They cause anxiety. We don't want any of that. So exercise. And I have a nutritionist on my staff. So we literally work with these women to figure out, okay, is it a weight issue? Are you overweight? And then how can we get you to lose weight? Because if you're losing weight, you're going to start to feel better. Your body's going to look totally different. You're going to start to feel more confident and sexy. But then what you're eating too. So there's so many different medications that we could give you, but you're going to see a deficit in other areas. So what type of supplements and vitamins are you taking? There's maca root is my absolute favorite. Does anybody take maca root in here?
No, hell, ain't nobody never heard of no maca root.
Yes. Maca root is amazing.
Tandali?
Yep. Milk thistle, I think is the name of it. Milk thistle is good. Magnesium is good. I can't pronounce the other one. Ashwagandha. It starts with
Ashwagandha. I gotta take that.
But magnesium is actually kind of better than that. So men should take the magnesium. Women can take both, but women should actually take the ashwagandha. Yeah, that one.
See, look at me. I'm a doctor.
Yeah, there you go. You
see me?
it. I see you. You doing your thing.
I did that. You see
you
me?
did it.
but I yelled out ashwagandha, and I was supposed to be taking magnesium, by the way. Let's get that out the way.
Take both.
I was like, ashwagandha.
But
like,
magnesium actually does more for the male. You can take both. Both are great. Both are going to get you where you need to be. But studies just show that magnesium is better for males. There are some vitamins that work better in that area for men and work better in certain areas for women.
Listen, I don't know what that male doctor gave me, but they gave me some pre-workout.
Okay.
You know, like the pre-workouts, I work out a lot. And I don't know what it do, but it's like it increased blood flow everywhere.
What's the name of it?
Listen, I didn't even ask the name.
You need to ask these things.
No. Here goes the thing. It worked. So I don't even want to know if anything's wrong.
To know the name.
If something wrong, it's right.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay? Oh my God, whatever that is. Shout out to my friends at Nuba Tea. You didn't even pay me for this, but I got to show love. Y'all go look up Nuba Tea. Just tell them get the pre-workout, fellas. You can do it on the hush.
Wait, what's the name of the place?
Nuba Tea. It's the men doctor where they go in there.
In Sandy Springs.
Yes, Lord.
Yes, I know the owner, Miguel, right?
That's my dog.
Shout out to Miguel.
Shout out to you did the podcast.
Yes,
That's what I found.
Yes, they're amazing. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yes, Lord.
Yeah,
the
but you
yellow
should
pill.
know what's in whatever you're taking.
Well,
I think that's very important.
Yeah,
but they're gonna get you right.
No, I understand. Hell, I don't know what's in soda, and I like that. And it, but this working way better than Sprite.
Oh,
and
I
it's
bet.
right. But let me ask you this though: is social media killing the bedroom?
Oh, okay. So I have a love-hate relationship with social media and the videos and the podcasts that I see. I think it's great for information. The issue is a lot of the information that you guys are taking in is sometimes incorrect because these are not professionals. And even as doctors, we're not always right. I tell my clients all the time, like, hey, let's look this up together because I don't know everything. Yeah. Just because I went to school for 10 years don't mean I know everything. So
what's up with your student loans though? You good?
Man, no. Can you help me?
No, praise God. You got a doctorate degree. Go ahead. I just want to know. 10 years just felt like debt. But
yes, it
God
is. A house and a car payment.
Indeed. But
help
go ahead.
Me, please.
Go ahead.
Whoever can sponsor me.
Listen, there's a lot of sponsors out there.
I just don't do OnlyFans though.
Give a sponsor.
Okay, well, hit me up. 912. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yes, no, student debt is crazy, but I love what I do. But this is the thing. I would take everything with a grain of salt and do your own research.
Okay.
Even from me, do your own research. Like I research
more so
everything.
The visuals.
What do you mean? Like seeing sexy pictures.
The Explore page, if you start flipping around, that is the new porn in my opinion.
Yes, it is.
The Explore porn, the devil live in there. If you following a certain level algorithm. For me, it's just all workout stuff. So,
you've changed your algorithm then.
So my algorithm is like, you should do this to get stronger. Yes. At one time, it was like preachers everywhere.
Oh,
and then,
okay. I was just going to say there's booty everywhere.
So I've never really had booty on my Explore page. I would get... So
I had booty on my Explore page at one. I mean, it was cheeks clapping everywhere. Well, I watched one twerk video, a little tutorial.
You stayed too long.
I did, apparently.
I hear it's about time and stuff. So it's not saying that I don't see the booty, click on the booty. I just don't stay on the booty.
Oh, okay, maybe I stayed on.
I don't stay there.
That was
you was like.
I was interested. I was like, this is.
You was, fellas.
They were talented. I was learning some
That
things.
was so sincere too. They were talented.
I wish I could tell you the name, but I ain't gonna.
Don't do it because they didn't pay for any sponsorships or anything. And the doctor is watching you. The doctor's watching you. So do you think like
I'm learning?
Does that affect anything? And I promise I'm being very, very wanting. Like I really want to know. 2 things just before I get you out of here: social media and pornography. Good thing or bad thing?
Okay, I'm going to say the pros and cons because I think if you use it right, it can be a good thing. And if you use it incorrectly, it can ruin marriages, relationships. I mean, we all know this. Like it can just, this is a thing. Like it's not real. It's not real reality, right? No woman looks like that 24/7, is acting like that, is sexually hyperactive 24/7. And so I think it can be used as a tool in a good way. If you're communicating with your partner and you're like, you know what, this is what I would like to see in the bedroom. Or I just want, or even as a woman saying, you know what, I want to be sexier. So I'm going to work on my confidence. I'm going to order this lingerie. I'm going to buy this sex toys. If you're single, buying a sex toy, So I think that it's how you use it. You just have to be mindful of how you use it. The issue is people don't have any self-control. And you click on one video, then you click on 2, 3, 4, and then
You down
It was
that
like my
rabbit hole.
page. It was downhill.
All
from
because
there.
of that twerk.
All
video.
that twerking.
I couldn't believe you did what you did.
Now it's travel. Now it's
Indeed.
travel.
I know
I
your
changed
daddy
my life
watching.
around.
Your daddy's watching.
My dad will not see this.
I bet he will. I'm gonna get into it. It's gonna be the #1 podcast in the world. Like, baby, you know who you was on that? Where you that DMV area? Oh, we hot in the DMV. Oh, tell him just in case you did. It's not this version though. You ain't gonna get this version on the radio show. You can believe that. I got a job and a passion.
But I think the question would be is like, how do you stop yourself from getting it to that point?
Yeah.
Because I think what happens with a lot of men is, even if they're in a healthy relationship, even if they're getting the sex that they want, and we don't talk about this much, even if they're happy, their wife is beautiful, educated, getting the sex that they want, and there's still temptation.
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
Yeah. Accountability. So,
Exactly.
So I kind of rock with accountability. So
Yes.
I went to therapy for, I think, what's this, my 5th year?
Mhm.
And
Congratulations.
I mean, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's how we got here, to love you more, loving myself more. I realized that I was giving of myself to certain people because of my own personal insecurities. And I didn't necessarily love me enough to know that I was also the prize. And although I was so accomplished in my career, I was still so empty in my own personal life. With all the Jesus, with all of that, I still was so happy when somebody said, you did good and you're so like people were supportive. And because I didn't necessarily come from, my house didn't really have all of that.
You love being poured into.
I was like, oh, you was pouring to me affirmations or whatever. And I just wasn't willing to give that away for nobody.
Well, were you getting that at home? From
Oh,
your
not
partner?
at all.
See,
Like, no,
and that's
not
the
at
thing.
all. And it's like, well, I'm not that type of person, and no knock to whatever she is as a person or what have you. I just understood what I needed, and so I learned to love myself more through counseling, and now I can have a really great conversation with a beautiful woman and not even have 2-3 different thoughts or whatever about any of that. I had to go to the male doctor to ask. I was like, I don't even really have no desire, like, I don't know, maybe it's because I had my daughter or something, but like ever since I had Paisley, it's just a maturation of who I am as a man. I always see, and I think that's why subconsciously I talk about your dad and I joke about it and I have a lot of fun. But I think if you have a daughter, it gives you another level of discipline as it pertains to,
It should.
who you gon', because I don't want nobody to do my daughter wrong. Like I don't want nobody to make her no side chick. I don't want my daughter to be wooed by some guy who has a really smooth tongue, who really doesn't have a great heart. Right. And so it really checked me. I'm like, I got to give what I got to give and I got to do what I got to do so I can be the better example for this little girl. Right. No matter what mom say, no matter what, I know the work that I'm doing so she can say, that is the pedigree of man that I require. But it also came from a woman that I chose to see. Right. She loved her damn daddy so much that can't nobody compete. And so I was just like, I'm going to have to learn who he is, how he is, what he does, in hopes that I can take a little bit of his sensitivity to your needs because he set a beautiful standard. And that's the way that's the way I'm moving now. And I'm challenging dudes as well. Like
That's how it should be.
Like, look at that somebody's daughter, man. I always tell my guy, man, she fine as a... Even people in the faith too, they talk the same way. Right. It's like, man, she fine as a... I'm like, well, she's somebody's daughter too, and you got 3 of them. You want somebody's leg to do like that for your daughter? You know what I mean? So, it's a very, very unique season that I'm in. And I thank you for coming in and giving us just a little bit of education.
Absolutely.
Because sex has been so demonized, specifically in the church.
Which is crazy because that's how we all got here.
Yes.
That's how we all got here.
No matter how you got here.
We're doing it. One way or another, somebody's doing it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are pregnant.
Yeah.
But I think that, and that's why I love what I do, especially I feel like it's needed in the Black community, is because with talking about sex, let's dig into sex education and let's teach the youth what we kind of probably all missed out on. Because a lot of my friends, and I'm sure probably most people in this room, their parents didn't sit down with them and say, okay, listen, we're going to talk about how you got here. And I'm not going to say you was dropped off by
the stork.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm going to break it down. But then also the emotional aspect. And that's probably why I feel so comfortable talking about sex, because that's what my mom did for me. She set me down at 12 years old and was like, this is what's going on with your body. You can get pregnant because you just had your period. And this is the emotional aspect of sex. And that's what scared me more than anything, was the emotional aspect of sex, because she was like, whoever you lose your virginity to, you're not going to most likely marry that person. And I think at 15, 16, you think that fairy tale, like, I love him, I'm going to marry him. And then reality sets in, and by then it's too late. And so when my mom put that emotional component in, I realized, you know what? I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready to have sex at 14, 15, 16. And it made me wait.
To what age?
I'm not telling.
She was like 14, 15, 16, but 17, it was on it.
18,
It was on it popping about 18 though.
Just in case my daddy watched.
Yeah, because he is. I know he gonna watch.
He probably will.
Because you
I'll
gonna
send it
send
to
him
him.
this. I know you would.
I would. Me and my dad, we are so tight. And we have a good bond. So
Man,
I
it's
would
so
send it to
good.
him. Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Number one, shout out to my brother, Dr. Tart, man, contributor on the show.
Yes,
he told me
thank
that
you,
you would
Dr.
probably be
Tart.
the best person in the world who would be a part of this. I will say this. I appreciate you being a disruptor to really shift the trajectory of people of what African American women can do.
Yes.
Most of the times when we get in mainstream media, we are doing the twerking. We are doing the fun stuff and just doing that. But you saying, listen, we can talk about sex and we can do it with class.
Yes,
we can
absolutely.
do it with honor. We can do it with integrity. We can do it with borders. We can do it with boundaries. And so, sis, I just tell you, man, I'm so thankful that I got an opportunity to have a moment with you in your incubator stage, because I do believe that your brand will expand all around the world. And I'm going to make sure that we go viral with it. As soon as you blow up, I'm posting it over and over again so we can do 1 million plus more hits. Yes, Lord. But no, I thank you so much. How do they find you on social media?
All right. So you guys can find me on social media. My personal page, where I mostly talk about mental health, and my travels is Dr. Canary. That's dr.canary. And then if you're interested in more just sexual health, intimacy, foreplay, all the fun things,
We
then
didn't get to that, though.
next time, part 2.
Hey!
Oh, we can do it live. No, just kidding.
Yeah,
that's my business page is mind.body.sex.
I know your DMs kind of be lit if you online, because I didn't follow like as much and go through your journey or whatever. She on there talking about foreplay guys and they're like, you need to holler at her. Hey, can you call my wife and let her know what
That's
you had
probably the
said?
number one. Guys are actually really respectful in my DMs. That's probably the number one thing I get.
Hey, can you hit old babe and tell her?
They be like, can you be friends with my wife? She gonna be at the mall at this time. Can you like bump into her and start talking to her about?
Like, how does that work? Like, sex. You're not doing it correctly. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm Dr. Canary. You should make a commercial.
No, but and that's the thing. I tell people all the
You're not
time.
doing it
I'm like,
correctly.
you can talk to your own spouse and partner about it. Because you know them best. I don't know them. I have to get to know them to figure out what the issue is, right?
Yeah.
So you can talk to them best. I have a worksheet that says literally, how do we talk about sex? How do I bring up the conversation of sex, wanting to have sex, wanting to have threesomes, be in a polyamorous relationship? I
Oh,
break
no, hell
all
no.
of that
I don't
down.
want all that on my
You might not
on
want
my
it, but a
bed.
lot of people, you know, they
No,
don't
the
wanna-
Lord ain't pleased with all of that. No.
people are doing it. And so
I know what they doing, but the Lord ain't pleased with a couple poly, bitty, body, booty, body. But I just did the LGBTQ one, and I changed my trajectory on my respect
See?
there. So,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I'm gonna change my marital bed as crazy as I am. in
and
there.
that's okay. You have to do what works for you. And that's why these podcasts, a lot of the times I don't like them, because I'm like, who cares? Just do what works for you. Do what makes you happy. We're looking for validation on Instagram and social media. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for someone to be like, yes, it's okay for you to do poly. Yes, it's okay for you to do this. It's like, do what makes you happy. If you truly want this in a relationship, then do those things. The issue is people don't. They don't truly want to do certain things, and they don't know how to tell their partner, hey, this makes me uncomfortable. They don't, and that's when they can come to me and I tell them, okay, this is how we work through that. This is how you tell your partner, hey, this makes me uncomfortable, and make sure that your partner understands what you're saying. Because a lot of times, and I feel like, especially myself, I've done this in the past, where I hear what my partner is saying, but then I'm in my head thinking of a way to respond. I'm not really listening and taking in. I'm like, oh, this is how I'm about to respond to him. I got something for him.
Yeah. I just want to tell y'all, man, all that little threesome and all that other stuff, man, it's good for a season. But it really long term, like as it pertains to like sex and intimacy, if it's somebody that you love, like I want to challenge you guys to like literally do your best to know that this flesh, bro, like it want a whole lot. It want to do whatever it want to do. I tell everybody, it's a monster living on the inside of me. And so every day I got to beat this monster up to get through these 24 hours because I understand that there's a lot of things that have happened on the inside of me. And so if I want it to line up, you know, with what I believe as the truth biblically, Like, it's a fight. Because, I mean, who don't want to just do whatever you want to do that's going to make you happy? But there's this long-term thing that God sees, and I'm always trying to get in the lane where I'm like, because I didn't see me doing this. When the teacher was telling me I talk too much in class. You always talking. Willie got all A's and B's, but he can't keep his mouth shut. Thank God my mama wasn't like, you better not be talking, and you need to never be talking. But she was just like, no, hell no. You need to learn when to talk, but don't try to shut him off, because hell, he might got to use that. My mama and them wasn't educated people, never been to college, I think my daddy never finished high school. They adopted me when I was 3 months old, but they had a whole lot of wisdom. So when that teacher was like, Willie talk too much, hell, he might be the next Johnny Carson. Sure enough, Will, I told you my mama gonna ride with him. But no, I thank you so much for coming out.
Absolutely.
And prayerfully, just as we close, prayerfully you understand that sex is not a bad word. Sex is actually good when it's done correctly with integrity, character, and boundaries, right? And so to anybody who's watching, you probably listen to this podcast like, what is mama listening to? I just want to talk to that young man who's under the age of 21, under 15, under 14, because maybe there's not a man in your home to speak to you and let you know these words that nobody told me growing up in the neighborhood. So I made a lot of decisions. I had a baby at 22 years old. I had to become a father very, very young. I lost my virginity when I was only I went through molestation at age 7 and then lost my virginity willingly at age 12. And, I had a whole lot of different hypersexual activity. I'll just lay it all out on the line here because, I wasn't smart enough to know what I'm about to tell you right now. You matter too. Little bro, you the prize too. That you're not only pursuing her and having sex with her, she's also having sex with you too. So you got to choose wisely. So I don't know what young man I'm speaking to right now. Maybe mama, you bring him in, not the other conversation because we went in a little bit. But maybe you bring him in this moment so a man who loves God and think that if God made anything better than a woman, baby, he kept it for himself. But I want to tell you, little bro, that you are important. And maybe there's somebody telling you, man, who you hit, bruh? Did you get her? Did you hit her? And it sounds good right now, but you are also giving of yourself. There's usually not a man in a young man's life to tell him, hey, you ain't got to do that, bro. Don't give up yourself early. There's always a mama to tell a daughter, like, girl, some emotional things that go with sex, and you might not know this person, as the doctor said, but there's never somebody to celebrate a young man who chooses to wait. There's nothing in the world that I wish more than if I just could have just waited until it was time. And that I was mentally mature enough to not to make so many mistakes sexually with women. Broke a lot of hearts. Hurt a lot of people. Even hurt myself. Sometimes I got to control this brain for all of the craziness that I want to do because of my past. You don't want to bring that to your marital bed if you can help it. So I'm challenging you, champ, to love you more than you love yourself right now. Love yourself more than what these cats in the neighborhood telling you. Man, you the prize, bro. And here's the thing. One day you're going to have a beautiful wife. And if you could just, although the context of the song's a little off, but there's a beautiful little part in the song when Whitney Houston says she saving all my love for you. My prayer is that you sit right there at that altar as she come down with tears in your eyes as she walk down in that beautiful white dress and her father stands to the left and he gives it to you and you can know, man, this will be my first time I saved it for you. And you won't have different renditions of different women who did different things because you chose to wait for your queen. And man, you're gonna have a beautiful life. The Explorer played just one thing, but a life of exploration could end in a marriage of expiration. So I challenge you to wait. Love you more. Subscribe to this channel. Flat out. Wow, it is a wrap. What an amazing show. Do me a favor, make sure you share this with somebody, subscribe to this channel, and last but not least, for those of you who want to go deeper, right? Next month, we're starting the opportunity for you to be a producer of the show. I'm going to be meeting with you guys in my Patreon community. Shout out to all my LYM producers, right? All my producers, I love you guys so much. We've been really hanging out and having a great time. But join this community. Journals are coming, new opportunities for you to know who's going to be on the show before the show even comes out, an opportunity for you to be live on screen with me during the show. Coming up next month, we got some really huge guests. Of course, it's going to be women Women's Empowerment Month or what have you. And then, of course, the next month is all about comedy and fun. And the next month is all about the mothers. But whatever it is, I need your help. Here's the thing. I need you to make a decision today to partner with us. For just $10 a month, you help this thing move. And listen, for those of you who want to go the extra mile, $11 a month, one of those dollars is actually going to go for adoption and foster care. So major love. Partner with us. The link is in the description. Do it now. Share, subscribe, partner. Share, subscribe, partner. Share, subscribe, partner. Flat out.
Love you more, love you more.